grab bag of fun, so we can definitely talk about anything you guys want to talk about. Plus, I'll throw some fun tidbits in today too.
Before we get started, I just wanted to make a comment what I've noticed about AI over the last month or so. Everybody is getting on the bandwagon with AI training, right? And it's quite overwhelming. I did a 3-day Tony Robbins Dean AI kind of deal. It was free, right? And then they were charging $900 to go to the next level. But in those 3 days, the content was outstanding, and I know Darren Hardy just did one. I know a lot of the real estate coaching companies are doing them and charging, good money for boot camps and stuff. So I guess my prediction is AI is going to continue to be in front of us every single day, and people trying to either teach us or, make money off of it. And so it's um, it's just amazing. It's not a day that doesn't go by. I get some type of ad for some type of signing up for an AI class somewhere, if it's at a title company or if it's at one of the Facebook ads that I see coming across to pay for training. The more that we can learn and use together here and, share our successes and failures. I think Tony's going to talk a little bit about he's getting frustrated with one particular program. I'll let him talk about that. But are you guys seeing the same thing?
Yeah,
Nate,
absolutely.
can you turn your volume up? It's hard to hear you a little bit, unless I'm just having old ears.
I did. How's that? How's that?
It's a little better.
Okay, I'll just speak louder and closer.
Elizabeth made a very cool AI ad with train coming to R4. I thought that was
I
kind of
saw that.
fun. I
I saw
know.
that. That was really good.
Mhm.
Did any of you guys see that?
No, I've seen Dane's stuff though, with him jumping out of the sky in a Remax balloon. That was pretty cool.
This is
So,
what I'll dig it up and we'll play it a little bit later because I think it's fresh, it's new, it's a really good way to utilize a technology, right? And she did that with Sora. Is that how you say it, Sora? But Tony, you want to take it
Or
away, or anyone else got a comment on what they're seeing in AI?
yeah. Um, the I think the big news right now is, if you haven't heard yet, was that GPT declared code red last week. Did you see that?
no,
No.
what does that mean?
So what's happened is that, and this is ironic because this is what I've been saying all along from the very beginning, I've been very like concerned about GPT because GPT is backed by Microsoft. Microsoft is Bing. They pushed the Bing agenda on to GPT. Your searches were searching only Bing for a very long time, which is a horrible platform to search. And so that's come around. What they've discovered is the general population, they were first out of the gate, and then the general population jumped on board and everybody started learning ChatGPT. It became synonymous with the word AI, just like Kleenex is really a tissue, but everybody calls it a Kleenex. So the the interesting part of this is now that they've declared code red, and that's because they've discovered they cannot compete in this arena with any of the other major LLMs. Their GPT's failing miserably. Dali's a failure. It's not doing well at all. The GPT has become, it's in its training, it's become more and more over encouraging. If you haven't noticed lately, it's almost disgustingly encouraging. It tells you you're just fantastic all the time. And some people need to hear that. But it's become more of a psychiatrist and a girlfriend or a boyfriend than anything else in the LLM world. So, no, recognizing what's happened, they declared code red. So what that means is that they're pulling back everything at GPT. They're going to focus strongly on what they do best right now and stop trying to compete in the other arenas and really pay attention to what their AI is doing and make sure they get it back on track to being its best at what it does best. One good example for that would be that I see, and this is just me projecting, me like this is a future projection. I think that you're going to see in 2026, Tesla and GPT are both going to try to release robots for in-home robots. Unfortunately, they're hiding the fact, both of them, that there's nothing fully autonomous about these robots. And so I don't think that's going to go over really well, because in order for those robots to work in your house, they have eyeballs and they're going to be looking around, and there's going to be a dude or a girl at the other end of those watching everything inside your house. So to manipulate those robots properly. So they're not fully autonomous yet. I don't even think that's coming, probably based on what I'm reading, for 5 to 10 years. So GPT, however, if anybody on this platform, on these platforms, I think it's GPT that's going to be the best at creating robots. And that is because they are already in the world of Her, which is the movie, if you saw Her, where the guy falls in love with his AI. GPT is in that world. You can go on every morning and chat with GPT and get encouragement and have it help you through things, and you can just chat with it and it chats back. And so they're really good at that. That's where GPT is strong. And I think that they would be really good with responsiveness from a robot. So I think GPT is recognized they need to pull everything back and figure out what they're going to do best, and then start pushing that first. In the meantime, what's happened is, in just the last few months, the Gemini world, which is where I've said it should be all along, Gemini is seeing millions of users are moving from GPT to Gemini and as their basic LLM. And here's what happened. Google is SEO, and Google is Chrome and YouTube, of course. Well, Google laid the foundation of AI. They're the creators of the AI components. So Google has all of the structure already in place. Google has the microchips and the transponders and all those little things, they have the cloud. They have all these things that are already set up to work with AI beautifully. So they have all the foundation and the money laid in, which GPT does not have any of that stuff. So Google now has the biggest, baddest search engine, which we all rely on and want our clients to rely on. For example, when we teach Google Business, I'm teaching you get your Google Business pages up and running, because those Google Business pages are bringing clients right to your door. AI is using those Google pages as well as those Google reviews from clients. AI is using all of that, as well as your website, big time, to verify you to talk to this prospective buyer or seller. So Google has all the foundation laid. And now the weird thing is that Google was very timid about coming out with Gemini, right? They launched Gemini, but it was very softly, and here's a new thing to look at. And then all of a sudden they've gotten a little bit more aggressive, and they're like, Nano Banana is here. And so you see Gemini now is really coming out. Well, Nano Banana just annihilated DALL-E and GPT. It's annihilated it. And so
Stop a minute.
Go ahead.
Real quick. Explain to the rest of us what Nano Banana means.
Nano Banana is their video and graphic and photo toy, we'll call it, that just like DALL-E is GPT's toy. So if you need something created, Nano Banana is their that's where you go to work with your videos and your photographs and make new graphics. Is that what you wanted to know?
Yeah, and is that part of Gemini? So, I mean, Gemini resides now on your Google search bar, right? You can click on it and go to Gemini.
Yeah, which is more cool stuff, right? Because Gemini is really coming in strong. I think they did the right thing. Any good business owner comes in softly and tries things out and then works and perfects them and makes them better and better. And then you then after you perfect them, you really go strong on advertising them and making the world know they're out there. What you have is out there. It's like a real estate agent. With your practice, you get more and more educated, you do some contracts, you get better and better, and your confidence level goes up, and then you are able to start getting more and more clients because you're able to, with confidence, talk about what you know and your experience level. And I think that's what Gemini just did as well, is they were very careful, but now they're coming in really strong. And I think you're going to see you're just going to see so many people on Gemini now. But Gemini also was careful to make sure they have I think, the storage power to handle this. Whereas GPT doesn't have the storage power. So if you have been on GPT lately, you'll notice far more hallucinations. I've been noticing far more shutdowns. I'll be working on GPT and it'll come back and say, I don't know how to, I got to take a break or whatever. So GPT is overwhelmed. So they didn't have enough money backing them. They didn't put the systems in place to let GPT handle the amount of billion people that want to use it, right? Whereas Google and Gemini, I think, did. So we'll see how that plays out. But I think they're prepared for the storm and they're getting hit. So that's coming over. In the meantime, they've also brought out some amazing stuff for us to use. So that's also really, really cool. So that's what Code Red is and what's happening with GPT. It's interesting because GPT is now looking for more financial backing. And I don't know how easy that is to get people to back GPT if they're seeing the failure and they're seeing a success over here with Gemini. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. That could mean also that your other LLMs start doing a lot better too, because as we know, if you want to write something, you don't use GPT or Gemini, or maybe you use them just to get the basic information, but your real true writing AI is Claude. So you're going to go to Claude and use that to write. Everybody talks about Claude in the AI world as the best of the writers. Perplexity is your best research tool. So Google, I would use that tool for Gemini searching anything to do with all website stuff. Perplexity also adds into Harvard and PubMed and all the journals and things out there, legal stuff. I would be using Perplexity for research that way. Perplexity also cites everywhere all the research comes from, and it helps you verify to make sure that it's real data, not fake data, right? So Perplexity is your best, most strongest research tool. Gemini will probably take that on as well because they do have the platform to do the search with both. I think they could become stronger in that world as well. But right now there's three main players to me, which is Gemini, Perplexity, and Claude. So there's three I'm going to be using. I do use on a daily basis. GPT, I'm going to back off on big time for a while, except for basic stuff that I may use it, but I don't know. It's just been really messed up for the last month or so. Are you seeing that as well? Are you using GPT?
Yeah, I've noticed it's crashed a few times, like has that wait for response or exit. So, and even if you refresh it a few times, it takes a little bit. So
yeah, it's happening. So, but
You guys remember I'm sorry, you remember the Cloudflare crash last month, a couple of weeks back?
Yes.
GPT was affected, but Google, Gemini, they weren't affected by that. So I think that's what one thing is to consider. And that shows how powerful Google servers are and how independent they are from the rest of the AI
Totally
platforms.
agree. I totally agree. And we all have to be thankful to GPT, the people that did GPT, and like a little kid running out into the world is what they did. And they just launched open sourced AI on all of us and gave us a platform that was easier to use and to play with. And they also encouraged and forced all the other players to get involved now. So we have to be thankful to them for that. But right now they just need to go back to the drawing board and see if they can't perfect getting rid of hallucinations, getting stronger with what their AI is best at. And they need to analyze this. They got to figure out what their AI is doing best and what it just is horrifyingly, doing.
Tony, are you familiar with Tony Ives? I know you're not an Apple guy, are you?
I have Apple. I
Johnny,
have my
Johnny Ives was I guess, the creator of the iPhone. And he's now at OpenAI, and his job function there is to develop wearables for the future.
fun.
So starting to see wearables, and I've been really counseling people that just be careful. Everybody's recording everything, right?
Mhm.
And it's going to continue. Last week we talked about B. We'll probably talk a little more about B today, but everybody's creating, these wearables, and it's kind of interesting. I haven't heard anything about Code Red on chat. That's my major place I go to, right? And that's pretty much where I live because there's only so much time in the day, and I just go there. But I know I've experienced a lot of errors lately in some of the production, especially I was trying to create slides, and the slides were taking forever.
That was kind of humorous though.
Yeah. And my PowerPoint presentation, that's part Nate's problem, part AI's problem, but I threw it together and I didn't proof it, and I presented, and next thing you know, uh, I did a picture, and it was in my presentation, and it was a picture of a house that it created, and in the middle of the driveway was like a 30-foot saguaro, and and so it took a little
That's
while.
not unusual in
Oh, I know,
Tucson.
but it's like, if you're just front, I had the chat do 12 slides, and it took forever. I mean, it literally took probably 2 to 3 minutes per slide for it to generate, to materialize. And and then you get going, then you find out later on there's this saguaro. I even put it on Facebook. I said, "What do you think about this AI photo?" And people would say, "Well, it doesn't look real. It looks Pixar, like Pixar. Maybe the sky and the mountains aren't actually right." And they didn't even see the saguaro in the driveway. And some people did. So you really have to be careful in proofing, just the verbiage, much less, and then anything that they create. But I have, I haven't heard of Code Red, but I have experienced slowdown and crashing of chat.
Well, so Tony, I mean, just hearing you rattle off all these different things, I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but that's really overwhelming. And I too am a chat GPT. That's the only one I have, right? I mean, I've used Gemini. Gemini is better. And somebody put I think it was Heather Raptor Jeep. Thank you. I'm going to go do that myself. So, fellow Jeeper. And but Gemini I found is better for graphics than chat, but still. So how do you manage using all of those?
I think I'm staying away from all the hypey stuff. I know it's exciting to make a picture of you popping out of a cell phone and make a picture of you on the train like Elizabeth did. I know that's exciting, fun stuff to do. I have stayed away from it just because it's going to be so consumer unfriendly to a point where consumers are just going to disregard all that AI crap because their brains are already programming in that that's just AI and it's not authentic. So my goal is for next year I'm going to go completely authentic and not AI as much as possible. Now that coming from the guy who teaches AI sounds kind of contradictory, but I use AI as a tool to help me do everything in the background. It's my assistant in many ways, and it helps me do in 3 minutes what would have taken me 30 or 60 minutes. So I'm using AI to make me more effective and efficient, but I don't want it to be the front man. I want AI to be, my behind the scenes person to help me. I just don't want it to be on the front end. And so I think that the consumer is going to want more eyeballs and teeth than ever. They're going to want more mistakes. They're going to want you to laugh and giggle. They're going to want you to cry. They're going to want to feel connection to you as we enter this AI world that they're just now coming into. Just all of us on this discussion right now are 2 years ahead of your clientele. You might be 3 years ahead of your clientele. I know you could really gather people in just by teaching AI to your clientele, just basic AI on how to work in their daily home life, with their kids or with their spouses, with AI, what it could do for them in their daily life. You could teach that, and just you could really gather people into you in that one realm, just authentically teaching AI to them. I actually am planning to teach AI classes to clients in my office coming up next year. That's on our agenda, is to keep bringing them in to teach them AI.
Nice.
So go ahead.
That's a just great idea. You know, Brian
Oh.
Buffetti's bold predictions last week talked about NAR's study that the average home buyer in America is 64 years old. And he was really cautioning people on spending too much time creating too much cutesy stuff that is targeted towards the young buyers out there, because the average new home buyer is now exceeding 40 years old, first time home buyer. And
Correct.
so you got to make sure who your market is and you're marketing to that market. I think it's interesting because, you know, I'm going to be 66 next, and you know, there's a lot of people like me that never, or my age, that really haven't embraced AI. And for you to come up with the idea of an AI trainer for the gray-haired Americans, you know,
I don't think it's just, I
I
think
know
it's,
it's not,
yeah,
but I think in my
no.
target market is that 65-year-old home buyer seller. They have the means, they have the equity in their homes, and that's pretty much, you know, probably 80% of the business is that target. Um, so for me, I want to go more into the target market that's actually transacting business uh, in the current year, you know. So
Well, this is a really cool, this is a cool discussion, because what I just heard was the numbers I heard, and maybe somebody who's it can wants to research the stats, but I just heard that your average home buyer, first time home buyer, now the average age is now in that 40 range, right? So you've got 40 range. That group is not on Instagram. That group is on Facebook. So that makes sense. If you're going to go after targeting people, you really want to focus everything on Facebook first and Instagram second, because your kids don't have the money on the Instagram or TikTok channel at all. And then the next thing is that if we're focused, I just heard a stat that our new move up home buyer, has anybody heard this one? Our new move up home buyer, first time move up, is 61 now. Now that's a crazy number. And what's happened is that your 40 somethings that own these houses have sat on massive equity, and now they have a lot of equity, but now they're into retirement already, and they have equity and they can move up or lateral or down. So what you're saying, Nate, makes absolute sense, because if we target the clientele that we have, with AI and helping them learn AI, and we could do a whole, here's the one best, coolest thing about AI is it's the first time in history that I can think of that it will train you on how to use it. You don't have to read the manual. You just go to Gemini and say, teach me how to do this with you, and Gemini will teach you. So now you have a teacher along with everything you want to learn. And now you can have Gemini you could have it work with you on creating a class for clients, and then give you how to teach them each little subject you want to teach them. So that's fun.
Last night on the news, they quoted a study. I don't know where the study was from. I can't recall. But 1 in 3 teenagers use AI every single day.
Oh, for sure.
My niece would be in that statistic. She's
Yeah.
going to be 18.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah, I would say I would guess that they're confused about AI in that even quote. I would think that it's more like 90+% of the United States of all ages are using AI daily, because they're using Google, Netflix, Alexa, they're using some component of AI we're just talking to their phones in Siri or Google. So they're all using AI. They just may not realize they're using it, but if they're thinking of open source like GPT, then that's a different statistic, of course. But yeah, I think you could not get fat quickly enough into teaching AI to folks in your community and your network, because they are 2 to 3 years behind you. Wherever you are, they're way behind you. So just being on this tells me they're way behind you, because you're here with us talking about this. So yeah. So is there any questions around all that? Because it's important to know these backgrounds, what's happening.
Well, I'd like to hear from the people on the call on what their pain point is, maybe, or maybe where they've experienced euphoria of using one of these things. I mean, there's two different spectrums there, but
Yeah.
Heather, you just came off mute, and welcome.
I know. I was glad I could jump in. I just wanted to say, I mean, I use Chat GPT for the behind the scenes day to day, gives me great ideas. And I mean, I use it every single day. It's the best assistant ever. I don't have it do graphics or slides I mean, anytime I've tried, it's like, oh, we can do this in Canva. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, no, just stop, stop. But I thought it was funny. My husband, when he found out I use the paid version, because he uses it, he's like a buyer for this huge company, and he uses Excel at a very crazy level and weird programs, right? Like he works for Sharpie and does all that kind of stuff. He uses it for all the Excel stuff that he has to build in this program and all of that. And I mean, people are just like amazed. He wanted to see what the paid version would do versus I was like, well, you're getting your own folder. My chat knows me very well, and
Right.
I don't have to do much with it, and it knows
Good for
exactly
you
who
on
I'm
that.
talking about, what client, exactly what I'm trying to do. So he has his own little subfolder. But he also, it was just pretty funny. This week, I guess they have to do their performance review for whatever for themselves each 90 days or something. So he had ChatGPT, like write it up. He went and grabbed all the stats, sent it over. It wrote up and he sent it over to his boss, and they're like, whoa, like, how did you do that so fast? Like, usually everybody's asking me a gazillion questions, and he's like, no, I had chat do it. So they just had like a team meeting yesterday so everyone could steal the idea that he just did, get the same stats and do their own review. But it's crazy how diverse it is and how it gets to know and just like you were saying, everyone seems to be moving to the Grok or Gemini, but I feel chat knows me to the core, whether I want it to roast me in a picture of my Jeep, where I go ride, or if I'm talking about a client, I'm trying to do social and website building, like it knows me. I don't have to do much of anything because I've been using it for so long. I couldn't imagine going to Gemini where I ask it to make a boxer in the balloon tie, a tie using this balloon, something silly like that. I just couldn't imagine trying to train it like chat already knows me to move to a different platform.
Well, I would think, Heather, you're a Gemini because if you use Google for searching anything, Tony, maybe you know this. Would it know you based on that? Because like like if you look at your search history, we're in a football pool at work. So when I go on that's like one of the first things that pops up on a Google search, right? Because every week I'm in there multiple times, right? So I don't know, maybe your Google does know you more than you think.
Oh,
Well,
because I have G Suite, I have multiple Gmails,
Hmm.
so I mean, it knows my entire
I
life.
mean, have you ever thought of something and then all of a sudden it pops up in your Google search or on Facebook?
No,
That's
you always, yes.
always, right? So
No,
I
if
think
I ever like, oh, I've never heard of this, but now that's all I'm gonna see. It's like,
right. So I don't know, just something to think about. I'm with you. I have a full-on relationship with my chat GPT. So the idea of switching that, I'm like listening to Tony going, "No, don't say it so," because I'm like
is
I'm
it?
a full on, I mean, it knows me. It knows, I mean, I had it said that I say the saying that this job's the coolest job next to being a rock star. How does it know that, right?
yeah.
How does it know
No,
that? And so the idea of
All the
switching is
time.
but it was fun to come up with a theme for my rap. I was like, all I know is I need it to be moonshine and mud and I need aqua. And it just gave me some awesome stuff. I sent it over to the people and they brought it to life. And that was all Gemini. I had tried it with chat and I'm like, did you not even read what color my Jeep was? Like, hello, did you even read what I wrote? It was horrible.
So, so here's what you're talking about is this. We all jumped onto ChatGPT originally. That's where we all went. So you have hundreds, if not thousands of hours of information in ChatGPT. This is the same as your husband. You have been with him for a very long time. If Heather, you and I now meet today and I sat down, I have a lot of catching up to do to know anything about what you and your husband knows about you, right? Because I'm now Gemini and I just popped in and said, "Hey, I want to be your friend. Tell me all about you." Well, I can't learn about you in a second, right? Um, So that's the difference is you have a relationship with GPT and not with Gemini. So GPT does know you. So I'm not saying dump GPT in any way. However, if you took everything from GPT, copy pasted it, and threw it over to Gemini and said, "This is me," it will know you just as quick as GPT. Because you can, this is a cool thing about AI. You could take all of your information, load it into any LLM like Grok, and then say, learn about me, learn who I am. And anything you feed it, now it will know you and it will start responding. However, what I will say to you is, unless GPT gets off their butts and gets some money and they fix this, Gemini is going to know you better by far, or Grok, or any of them is going to be better at knowing you and serving up the data and information that would serve you better in your business. In the future, it's going to be better at it because not only will it know your entire personality, but it's going to be a better platform as far as what it does for you. So it's a lot of times, for example, I will take the same information and throw it from GPT to Gemini. So Gemini is learning who I am as well. But I did start my relationship with GPT too. So it knows me really well. However, I am also now teaching Gemini who I am. And now Gemini is starting to very quickly respond with, "Oh, do you want," one of the things Gemini asked me recently was, "Is this for your gallery, your trolley tour company, or real estate?" Because it's asking me which one. So that's how,
Right.
because I'm a confusing person on these AIs.
Oh,
Because I don't
tell
have
me
one
about it.
company, I have five, right? And so it's like, who am I responding for and to right now? Because you own these companies. So yes. So I would say to you, play with Gemini. You can quickly get it to learn more about you just by copy and pasting a bunch of text information out of your GPT or off of have it look at your website data. You could copy paste emails and how you write, all that stuff. So
I would
Claude,
guess
the same thing.
we guess you do the same thing, just have it interview you, right?
Yep. And I would teach Claude, with writing samples. I would tell it, here's how I speak, how I write, here's my language, by showing it a whole bunch of emails that you wrote, and let Claude then become your partner in making it'll write just like you. It's really cool. But
Well, it's
it'll
like, yeah,
polish
it's
it.
like
Yeah.
I have me. I want to be fun and exciting, but then I write blogs on brokerage level, so it needs to be more, but then it knows exactly what counties and I mean, and that's
Yes.
so I'm 1,000 different people too, and then have it roast me
Yes.
on the Jeep level. So it's just
Yes. We were talking about Jeeps and ducks yesterday in my art gallery because I own two Jeeps and there's ducks all over the gallery for people to find.
I didn't know you were a Jeep guy, Tony.
Yeah, we have two Jeeps. I'm on my fifth
Ah,
Jeep.
that makes you so much cooler. So is Mike Donovan's a Jeep guy too. So
How can you not love Jeep? The luxury Jeep line is absolutely amazing over any other product right now. It's stunning. So
can't probably
so
see all the ducks I have in my shelf back there in the Jeeps.
nice.
Yeah.
um so we were asking, is there other things anybody else wants to euphoria or pain?
I'm willing to speak a little bit about it. My name's Dina. I'm from the
Hi,
Twin
Dina.
Cities. I am a newer agent. I'm still within my first year, and
Hey.
I have been using AI to help create a launch pad for my business.
Nice.
I was playing around with a lot of different, as we all do, figuring out what your direction and your angle is, and after really zoning in on a very specific niche. Um, I just gave it a lot of information about my ideas, along with information that I've been, conversations I've had with mentors and peers, and asked it to develop a schedule and a launch pad over the next 3 months and 6 months that I can edit and my schedule for if a day looks a little bit different. I'll tell it to edit what that day looks like and keep track of that for me, which has been really helpful. I have had so many challenges, however, because I do a lot of freelancing and other ways with similarly graphics. I can definitely second the checking the spelling on graphics. And I feel like each time you want to edit something for it to be a little bit more like precise, it just loses quality every single time that you want to edit it, which has been frustrating for me. But yeah, that's a little bit about what I've been loving about it, but I'm excited to explore these other options. So I'm super excited to be here and be learning.
You've been on using GPT is where the relationship is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nano Banana is very good at, I did this the other day on Nano Banana. I had it create something and it did. And I said, could you please change the houses to look like Southwest homes in Tucson, Arizona, but leave everything the same? And it did. It was perfect. It changed every little house to look like Southwest. And so that was cute. And so I've been testing Nano Banana on, can you keep consistency? I just want you to keep this photo, but make the kid's hair blonde, not brown. And it does. So it's really, Nano Banana is really excelling in that arena. So that's a good one to play with.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. We're glad to have you. And it's really awesome. I would say to you, if I could give you a little piece of advice, go over to Gemini, light up that account, go to settings and make sure that you turn the settings function on that tells it to remember everything you're putting in. You have to do that with Gemini settings. Go to Gemini. If for a tip for everybody, we should all go to Gemini and just go to Gemini and say, teach me everything I need to know about Gemini settings. And then it will walk you through settings. And when you turn on the Gemini settings, turn it on to remember you, then I would say, Dina, make sure you get everything personal you can for your business and who you are onto the Gemini platform and tell it, I have 2 children. I have a dog named Sam. He's a beagle. Just let it in there. And then in your writing and in your platform, and to be authentic and to create a business of authenticity, you're going to tell Gemini, knowing who I am, who I am, I want to create an authentic, business plan for me to come out with these folks and be me and attract people like me to my business. That's what we fail to do typically when we start in real estate or any small business. We want to try to get everybody to come to us. But if you start out the gate, you'll be leaps ahead of many people just by being authentic you. Because if you're a dog lover, for example, and your marketing starts role modeling that you're a dog lovers will come to you. And now you have a very nice business because you're attracting the people that are your tribe, right? So that's people you want in there. So you have a great advantage to a lot of people right now is that you're starting out. So and you're starting out with a tool that is phenomenal to help you with that stuff. So use it to be authentic and tell it everything you can about you and make sure it knows who you are, because the more it knows your website addresses, your Facebook pages, your Instagram pages, all that stuff, feed it all to the AI so it has that background, what your addresses that you use, your phone numbers, give it everything, just like you would on a great bio, and let that Gemini know you. And then watch what it does with helping you be more authentic in your marketing.
Hey, Tony, I've recently been hearing on, as I'm driving around on the news, so I don't have all the details, but they're talking about a investigation, I believe, into a technology piece, right? Like, for instance, if you're going to use Instacart and I'm going to order some bananas and a half gallon of milk and a loaf of bread, and you order the exact same thing, they will charge us differently based on our wealth, for lack of a better word.
Huh.
And
That's sad.
yeah, well, it's happening, right? They know. So, I'm starting to wonder, with all this AI, because just going to the grocery store for the last 5 years and putting in my code, they know everything that I buy, right? They know what I eat, how I consume, and so forth. Uh, Somebody's doing something with that information, right, in the background. Uh, but this is really interesting. And so I've been flying a lot lately. And you guys have all done this, I'm sure, where you go on and you look at the flight and then you don't make your decision. And then you go back a little bit later and all of a sudden the price has jumped,
Yeah.
right? And they also said these algorithms, Roberta, we'll get to you, see your hand up. These algorithms are learning, like they're seeing, let's say your mother died and she's in Buffalo, New York, right? They know this, and when you go to book a flight for Buffalo, New York, the price bounces up. So it knows you too much. Right? We know every device in our house is listening, uh, to what we say, and they serve it back up to us, or they charge us more money. So really interesting world out there. But have you heard anything about that? If not, look for it because it's kind of hot on the news right now this week.
I just heard a hint of what I just heard about as much as what you just talked about as well. I haven't investigated that. But of course, some companies will use, a lot of these major corporations have been sued for things over the years. Apple, remember throttling phone calls, being throttled by cell phone users when you're using it too much. They throttle you down and don't give you the amount of bandwidth you're supposed to get on your paid plan. I mean, all these companies are looking at all times to make more money. But I think the irony is all of that data you're talking about is already there. Like they've already got all that data on you. So it's hopefully, this stuff gets found out and solved, and they set precedents with these things, but it's going to happen, and it's just part of that. And yeah, I agree. That's part of the stuff we have advantages to use, like stalking. I call them stalker ads. That's one of those advantages too. So Roberta, pop in.
Oh, sure.
So I was just going to comment. I saw that report the other day as well, and part of about the change in pricing based on who you are or what's going on. And if you'll recall back, the government, had investigated Uber some time ago for surge charging. And, Uber still does it, based on rush hour or some game or whatever. But they're lumped into that conversation. And that's partially what they're talking about is, to some degree, surge pricing, or at least something similar to it. And so, yeah, the tracking is definitely happening. And I didn't see who the government that was actually doing the investigation, but there was a whole laundry list of ways that probably AI foundationally has all these different companies doing exactly what Nate just described.
Yeah, and this is nothing new to the population. I mean, let's face it, if you want to go to a concert, as soon as those tickets are sold out, there's some guy out there to sell them to you for 5 times more because he bought 10 and he's going to sell them to you for higher. If you want to go to the theater, the closer you are down to the stage, the higher the seat prices. So this is nothing new. Now it's just technology is able to track it much quicker and, and serve it up that way. So,
But a banana is a banana, right? And if they're
yeah.
charging,
Yeah. A banana is okay, maybe. There is organic and non-organic, probably.
yeah. Hey, we can come back and discuss, but I think we should give away our freebie. Okay.
Freebie, get it?
And
It's a freebie.
before Sarah tells us who our winner is, I would just want to show you what it is. And I bought this, but I opted to use the free app that's built into my iWatch, right? And if you go that route, also gonna tell you it's, there's a toggle on and off, right? Sometimes it's off and I wish it was on. Again, I forget I forget
I
to
do. Same thing.
But it's been quite helpful in stuff, and it'll remind me like, hey, you said you were going to do this and call this person, did you call that person, so that's a cool little AI tool. Although it is freaky, Amazon did buy B in the last few months, so that just gives Amazon more reasons to serve you up stuff to sell, I'm sure. But when you get the box, it comes in a little box like this, right? And then you open it up and it has a little instruction package in it. You get a sticker, right? And you have a little holster, for lack of better what it is, that you can put your bee in and clip it on as opposed to wearing it as a bracelet. Now, Tony, I noticed you had yours on, right? Yep. And it comes with the black band or the yellow and black combination here. So if you just want to be a little bit less conspicuous, I guess you just use the black band, right? If you want to be bright, you got the yellow. But Sarah, who's getting the freebie?
Well, one caveat I just want to throw out there, if you're going to wear it and you're going to a listing appointment or buyer appointment, probably should ask permission to record the conversation just so everyone's cool with that. But based on interactions over the last 30 days, Sharon Decker is going to be our winner. So yay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So Nate, you'll make sure she gets that.
Yay.
Yep, we will. We will.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Sharon's information, so that'll be great.
Yep, I'll get that to you. Thank you.
Right.
That's
Very
totally
cool.
fun. Yeah, we probably need, as more people get bees, we probably need to readdress going back to bee usage. Because once this, one of the things about this group is that once more of us get into anything, then we all have new ideas on how to use it in a better, more fun way, or so that's why we're here. So as more people get bee and get to play with it, that'll be awesome. That'll
And
be
definitely share your stuff in the group. It's like there's some people that are pretty often in there, but if you come across something cool or you do something cool, share it in there so that we can learn from you and have those experiences. And the same thing if you encounter something terrifying that we should know about. The commissioner in Arizona is coming out with new rules about advertising, and so that's going to be something Nate has to navigate as the broker owner, managing. And so many of us are using AI type platforms to help push out content, and how is that going to be regulated? So, there's some things starting to change with that we got to be mindful of. And I do agree with you, Tony. I think there's times I'm on Facebook, I'm like, that's fake. And I'm just scrolling through, that's fake. And so I think we have to be careful as realtors that we don't, our consumers don't just scroll past. It's hard enough to get their attention, right? And so we don't want them to even more scroll past us because they can just think that it's fake. So, so yeah. And our January meeting is actually going to be the 15th because of the holiday. So it'll be January 15th at Arizona time, 9 o'clock. So just FYI on that.
Question.
Yeah, go
Sorry.
ahead.
So it records sound, or does it transcribe conversations?
It transcribes a conversation. It'll prompt you to it'll make a to-do list for you as well.
Mm.
Go onto YouTube, type in B, watch a couple videos. You probably that's how I learned a little bit about it. But just got to understand that it's free. This is what boggles my mind. This is a $70 device, right? On the iWatch, it's free. And so, so you have a company giving you a free service. There's no monthly charge. It's because they know everything. They're going to know everything about you. So you have it on and you're talking to your spouse about something, you're talking about, oh, I want to surprise Tanya with just a little mini vacation, right? Well, is that going to use that against me to crank prices for that week that I want to go on that mini vacation, So, we got to understand that they're gathering, just think about it. If everybody wears a B or some type of, and Amazon in this case is the owner of it, they're getting all that information. Just like Tony said, these robots, there's not really there's going to be a human behind the robot, which is freaky, right? Uh, if you said something in your car to another, driver, and you end up getting an accident or something, are they going to use that against you? You know what I mean? So we just have to be very careful by wearing wearables on, can this information come back and be used against you? I have a 16-year-old daughter. We have a thing called 360, right? So she's starting to go on dinner dates and it's really weird, you know. She was with a boy the other day and we can see where she's going, right? He's driving and there was her and her girlfriend and two guys that were going to dinner and they're going 80 miles an hour because the app is telling us this, you know. So it didn't take long for Tanya to text her and tell George to slow the blank down. And sure enough, he did and apologized. But the problem with that company can probably sell that information back to insurance companies, which I think they do, and to see what your driving records are and the way you know, run drive a car, right? What's the safety risk if you're always speeding? Are your rates going to be higher? So all this technology can be used against us. So just be real careful with that. That's my disclaimer for the day.
I
Okay.
think that's
So Nate, what you're saying is I should not wear my B when I'm at the bar at R4, just only at the sessions, right?
Yeah, probably. And you
it's
could
great at it's great at conferences.
now here's another tip that I use and I love it. I love it. So almost every webinar I listen to, I'll just take out my iPhone and I'll turn on the recorder and I'll just lay it down. If I'm at a conference or if I'm on a webinar, and I just record the whole thing. And then I stop it and then I'll ask for the transcription because it transcribes it all. And I'll pop that into chat, not Gemini, because I haven't got there yet, into chat, and I'll tell it to give me a summary. And it'll give me all the bullet points. It's what we used to do with the plot, right? And again, it's just free and it does a really good job. And so again, you don't have to go out and buy things or subscribe to things, you know. We just need to utilize what tools we have in front of us.
Yeah, I think for conferences, I've been noticing the B is phenomenal for a lot of reasons because it does make suggestions and it hears things like that I'm talking about, like, oh, I want to do that. It'll say, oh, so after the speaker's done, it'll come back and say, did you want me to put that on your to-do list? Yes, because I'm trying to pay attention to the speaker and learn as much as I can. And it's nice to have a backup that's paying attention to you and that speaker at the same time. And it does phenomenal on that. So, and the other thing is this is not new stuff, this technology. Zillow's been taking all of your data and every client's data through a little toy called Dot Loop that they gave away to all these brokers, and everybody's on the system, and that's all owned by Zillow. So they've got all the information on every sale, everything that's on those contracts, every bit of private information, including social security numbers, is in Zillow's database. So that's kind of a scary thing. And they claim that they're never going to use it, but they have it.
They bought Follow Up Boss too, so one of the larger CRMs.
Yeah, same thing.
I was going to say something that we've said in CRM world. People say, what is the best CRM? And we'd say the best CRM is the one that you use, right? So
Yeah,
same thing with a AI tool, right? It's the one you use. So some of us that are using ChatGPT, some of us may never leave that to another tool, I've peaked at Gronk and I've peaked at Gemini. It's like I haven't had time to like jump in and train any one of those. And I think it's at some point it's the one that you use and learn and you get the best results out is probably what works for you. So
And I've heard bad things about the Tesla one, like it cursed out somebody's kid driving in the car. So
just
so
remember, the Tesla stuff is always, I'm sorry, anything to do with that stuff has always been kind of iffy. He overpromises and underdelivers all the time. So he's in a fantasy world of his own in a lot of ways. But your Gemini, remember, is your SEO strongest spot. And so if you really want to get AI to notice you, you need to understand Gemini. You're going to need to understand SEO, and you're going to need to understand the difference between AEO and GEO, which we can do a class on that, which I've done a little bit on. But if you understand the basics of how to speak to AI, then you're far ahead of everybody else in what you'll get for return. If you're just going to have conversations with GPT, you're going to have a lot less of a return, right? If you get stronger at speaking with your AI and you learn how to, it's like speaking to a child or a family member, the relationship gets better. So even with clients, right? How do you speak to the client? There's a lot of DISC people that believe if you understand DISC, you understand the client, you know how to speak with them better. That's the same thing with AI, learning how to speak with it better. And this Gemini is going to just really dominate in a lot of ways because it is the SEO tool and it has it's got all the foundation right. So it is worth checking out. Also understand there's a suite of tools now called Gemini tools that integrate your Gmail docs, your Gmail emails, your sheets, all that. It integrates all that for you, and you can learn how to do that by just asking Gemini to teach you. But imagine that it now starts helping you with your Gmails and starts disseminating the spam into one spot better than it already is, and that it actually can create a response for any one you indicate. If this comes in from a lead, this is the immediate response email I want you to send back out. So there's things that these toys are going to do for you, Gemini especially, because it gives you so many of those, like Excel. The person who's using Excel, those docs in Gemini are going to be even more phenomenal for those Excel users. So it's going to be really cool stuff coming into that platform. So use both. Get involved into Gemini.
I think
Tony,
that's
quick question.
all
Sorry,
my-
Mike Donovan here. I'm the Jeep guy, so thank you, Sarah, very much for recognizing that. That made my day.
Another Jeep guy.
So I'm just dipping my toe in the water with all of this. So I would love a class on the SEO versus AEO versus EIEIO. And then on Gemini, is there a paid version, professional version like there is with ChatGPT, or is it all just one thing?
Same.
Yeah,
Yep,
there
I think
is
it's
a-
like $20 and probably, best $20 you'll spend on platform. Since you're newer to this, I would say start with Gemini and start your relationship there. And then dabble with the free versions of GPT if you want to, but I would say move to Gemini right off the bat. You're ahead of the game then, because you'll start your relationship, because a lot of us have a very long-term relationship with GPT, which means it knows a lot about us, and it is painful to break up with any relationship because that person knows you so well. And you feel like you're going to be a lost soul again. Let's face it, it's the same as a relationship with a human in very many ways. So the pain is we don't want to get out of GPT already. I get that. I'm not asking anybody to break up. I'm just saying you, Mike, have a great opportunity because you could start right out with Gemini. Just make that your relationship and start there. And then you could play with GPT, and the others are all free as well. So,
Well, I've been using the GPT and the paid version after your class at R4 last year. So that's when but I use it like I do Google, and I'll use it for like listing descriptions. So
yeah.
really got into the images and all that I'd like to. And I hear Gemini is probably the better fit for that.
Roberta and Aaron, you came off mute. I don't know if you had something to add to it, but we're right at time. So Roberta, go ahead.
Just real quick, I've been in relationship, as Tony says, with chat for a long time, but I just entered the paid version of my relationship, so I'm probably not breaking up anytime soon. That being said, it required me to have two. Didn't require. It allowed me to have two positions or whatever. I don't even know what they called it. So I gave it to Rick, invited him to be part of it. Here's my question. I have developed my persona on regular chat over time. Now that he's using it on the paid version with me, does it think it's me, or did they realize that's Rick?
I think that was designed to allow you to have two separate personas.
Yeah.
I did not go that route with my VA. I gave my VA a paid version, all of his own. So there was no chance of crossover.
Well, this is, yeah, it's not my VA. It's Rick, my husband.
Same thing. Yeah, same thing, because
But same
it's this
concept.
exact same thing in the world of AI. I don't want another human. I just don't want that. I don't know that is a completely separate account.
Yeah.
Is it two? It's one account.
Like he doesn't. It's one account that I pay for,
Yeah.
$20 each, so I'm $40 a month or whatever it is. And he cannot, because I asked and I looked at his screen, can you get to my chats, all the stuff I've created, and it wasn't there.
Right,
and all
right.
the stuff he's creating, I can't see his. So I was
I
just
just
curious
don't know.
if you had
I
experience
don't know what
there.
their point. Yeah, I think is it discounted for you? I forgot.
No.
So I don't know why
No.
you want two people on the same platform. Maybe because it's a team thing and then it could integrate in the future. I don't know why they did that. Because why would you just not sign everybody up separately? I'm not sure. I don't know what that was
Yeah,
for.
it's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's a good question. I know that I have two personas available on my VA's account that I gave him, but I separated it so I'd have my own.
Yeah. Got it.
Roberta, I would
Thank you.
recommend that your two personas would be you for residential and you for commercial.
See, that's what I was thinking I was going to use it for
Oh,
too, Nate, is this is me Tucson Gallery. This is me Tucson Trolley Tours. This is me Remax. This, like,
oh,
I was thinking, could I have personas there? I never separated it though. So
that's a good idea, Nate. I'll have to try to figure out how to break
Yeah.
up and start new relationship. Okay.
Well, being that I have the model mortgage, I have the Remax professionals, I have
Yeah.
the Martinez team. I've trained it on all three of those, and so I'll tell
Yeah.
it, I'm working on something for model mortgage, and it knows and it responds accordingly,
Right.
or Remax, or I did something the
yeah.
other day, I forgot it knew all this stuff, and it was just amazing what it came back with. Uh, before
Yeah.
we go, I know we're over time right now. You may want to download the notes in the chat. John put a lot of links in there and some explanations with Claude and Gemini and Perplexity and Gemini. So the links are there. Uh,
Yeah,
so
thanks, John, for doing that. That's super
Yep.
helpful for all of us. Yeah.
I
all
was
she did was look.
wondering if I would love to connect with everyone in here and just get some contacts. If we could all share that in the notes or perhaps on the Facebook page.
We
Um,
are on the Facebook page. Have you been to our Facebook page?
Sharon recommended the group to me yesterday, and I hopped on the Facebook page last night, so I haven't gotten to look through, and I don't know how big the group is on the Facebook page yet. I haven't done my digging quite yet, but yeah, if everyone's on there, I'll definitely just
We're all in there.
email and everything. So
Yeah, we
I
can
think
put
in
our
the
names
future,
there.
though, for referrals or for anything, if you wanted to reach out, we should all be probably creating a list of everybody who wants to be on the list. And then that would allow us also to, me especially, sometimes I'd like to email everybody and say, hey, we're going to do something special, or hey, this is happening. So, because I personally can't check Facebook every day. I'm on email every day, but I cannot be on Facebook every day. So I miss some stuff until I get on there. Um, so yeah, I think it's a great idea to create a list. I'm going to put my information. I see everybody else is starting there too. Also, we'd really appreciate it if you have an AI using friend who is a real estate agent with an active license. We'd appreciate it if you invite them to be on these discussions, because the more of us together we learn together. So
Hey,
Yep. And
Tony.
Tony, I think next you want to do next month the topic that Mike suggested of the SEO, and you named a new one, AEO. I've never even heard of that. So
yeah, I really find like there are a couple people in here that are new, and that this is really great opportunity for them. Any of us that have websites and stuff, this is also a phenomenal opportunity to beat the market, because in 2 years, all the rest of the agents are going to be right behind you on your heels, and they aren't doing it now. So yeah, we could do all of this stuff again on the next one.
awesome. All right,
Yeah,
very good. Well, everyone have a wonderful holiday. Stay healthy, stay safe, and we'll see you next year.
Sounds
great.
good. Thanks.
Sarah,
Bye.
thank you.
don't log out on this.
Okay.
So we need to be able to do you have all those notes so we can compile that list of everybody popping their names and stuff in there?
Yeah, all she do is go to when you have the chat open, the three dots at the top. You just click save chat, and it'll.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we have everybody as they bounce out has got their chance to put in their information. So if anybody else wants it before we save that. And then
Where does
otherwise,
I see save chat, but where does it go, Nate?
Thing it just goes to your hard drive.
mine didn't go anywhere either. I don't know what it did. Oh, no.
I think usually as soon as you log out, it pops up with a text box. That's what happens for me.
Mine goes into saved chats on my Zoom app.
That's where they go. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so if one of you guys do that, you are in charge of that Zoom, then you'll have it, because I don't have a Zoom account open right now.
What we'll do is we'll put the link for the chat when we post the video.
Perfect. And then we can start compiling this list of people that want to be notified if we need to get something direct without hoping we see it on Facebook, because there's a lot of noise there, and I know it's a tough spot to go to.
John,
Cool.
give the instructions on how to find your chat when you download it, so it's also there.
Perfect.
Oh, what did you do?
So you can always just highlight everything and copy it too, right? And put it into your notes.
Yeah, you can. That's just there's
Yeah.
easier.
Just, you know how to do it. That's the way, right?
Mine just goes to show in folder on the OneDrive, so that's where mine ends up. So that's what I found. Cool. Thank you,
All right, you
everybody.
guys, take
Thank
care.
you.
You.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
Have a great week.